Hello, as I can here to show you the emergency reasons. Coloring here, as you see, is that I went ahead and included, as you would say, is a list, and then some coloring picture icons of emergencies, such as if you were in case that there was an emergency, that what number to call 911 for emergency, and you got the ambulance, you got ambulance, and then along with the fire truck, and then the police. It's like for a police car, but it's like you have it to where for call 911 for emergency lines, and then along with here's like the emergency exit, and then along with so you got the first aid kit, and then along right here is you got severe weather, and then along with CPR, but a lot of times is that you run into a situation to where it's like for severe weather, it's like as far as it could be tornadoes, or it could be hurricanes, or it could be say a winter blizzard. That a lot of times is that it says on there to make sure that you have the right supplies that you need in the car, or around, to where like some type of kit that a few say coats or blankets or whatever, and then maybe some candy bars, the emergency kit during the severe weather. It's like if you do get stranded and in the vehicle, then a lot of times it get stranded anywhere, but that they have emergency supplies with you, such as drinking water. And then along right here is for emergency exit, is if you run into a situation to where there is a fire, then a lot of times they tell you just stay to the ground, and then and find your way to emergency exit, and which a lot of times is that you would get on the ground, and then it's like a lot of time you be able to feel the floor, if the room were to be covered in smoke, and then a lot of times is that you would try to kneel down to the floor, and then to try to find your way out of the room. A lot of times with the emergency exits, no matter if it's a window or it could be a door or whatever, that they would be painted like a red and yellow type color for say emergency icons, say emergency readings. But a lot of times is that for emergencies is that that they may be hard to see, and then a lot of times is that people would maybe recommend is to if anything is to keep down on the ground, so that way you can keep away from the smoke, and then after that, and then is to lightly tap the walls just to see if there's a door nearby, or maybe if there's a window nearby with the emergency exit. There's a emergency exit system in, and a lot of times that they'll probably say if you were to use a window to exit out of a building, then let the crews know that that you're there, but in order to be able to reach safety ground. But so far as for 911, emergency line, that they wonder, it's like how long that's been an emergency line. It's like I hear that sometimes since 86 that it's been an emergency line. But my best guess is that maybe ever since phone services were invented, it's like a lot of times that more likely that I would probably say it was that at least the 1950s is when it's been emergency service for, and which it's like for 911, and which a lot of people would probably say that that number would a lot of times will be easier to remember, so far as for emergency reasons, and then for non-emergency reasons is which can have a number for that too, and could say the local numbers that will be listed in most phone books. But so far as the fire truck, you got the fire truck, and then a lot of times, sometimes they will be called in case emergency situations along with the ambulance. You got the siren right there, And then on here is the car, the car collision, car crash. Is that a lot of times that for accident, that a lot of times is to find out. It's like if anybody is injured, is to get them to safety. And then like I say, if you have a first aid kit around, then that you to use the first aid kit for whatever's needed. But so far as for a lot of times that there is any patients that are injured, is a lot of times that you hear about it. A lot of times in health class or whatever, that give them the safety and cover them up with a blanket, and then make sure that they're all right, and then if that is don't move them too much, if they're too injured to move. But and then you got the police car right there. It's like, but most of the time with a lot of times with emergencies, which a lot of times that they say that if you were to make an emergency call, that while you're on the phone with the emergency operator, that a lot of times they tell you is to calm down and to tell us what the problem is, what the situation is, maybe your location, and then and then maybe they'll get some information such as a cell phone or contact number, and then maybe what type of vehicle or whatever that you're driving, and then maybe maybe the age for how old you are. But a lot of times is that with the emergency the 911 operators, is that whenever you call them, that is to tell them what the emergency reason is, and then then more likely they'll send help right at that location. But of course, it's like that there may be a situation to where somebody may not have a cell phone on them at the moment, or whatever, that there is an accident or some type of emergency situation to where they would probably recommend is to go to a near station or whatever, that for any type of emergency contact. But other than that, it's like if you need, like, if your car were to break down, or if you need roadside assistance, then more likely is to maybe go somewhere where they have a payphone or somewhere, which a lot of places that's like they get rid of most of the payphones, which most payphones are pretty much are kind of say is going out of service due to the cell phone wireless reasons. And but nowadays it's like, which I'm sure that with like the laptops and stuff, that you'll be able to make phone calls on the laptop lines of use, such as if you have like Magic Jack or something like that. But a lot of times is that so far for severe weather, is that they will probably say that for severe weather is to get into a safe location to where you're away from danger, and then it's like to report any hazardous weather. It's like so far as hurricanes and then tornadoes, and then so far as winter blizzards, is that you would come to that situation to where there was anything serious happening, to report it to the weather center or something, the weather center, and then just whatever the situation is. But so far as for the fire truck, and then you get the police siren right there, but the emergency siren. But a lot of times is that if you were to call the number, then a lot of times they may send a fire truck out before they send a police car or something, that they would be able to respond to the situation. It would depend on who's to that nearest location. They may send an emergency vehicle out that direction. But so far as for emergency reasons, is that we could probably think of a list from like 1 to 10 to maybe 15 of the different emergency numbers, or whoever to contact if there was an emergency, such as what you say is is like kind of like a number emergency numbers that you would call, like, for non-emergencies, and which I can't really think of any of them, at the moment, but